Stabbed. I was stabbed right there in the middle of a packed nightclub. No warning, no indication that someone wanted me dead. Just sliced. My wild eyes scanned around for the attacker. Whoever it was had become lost in the crowd. Loud music drowned out cries for help. People bumped into me, unaware of my emergency. They were all busy having a good time. Blood soaked my hands as I tried to staunch the flow. Hot. Sticky. It wouldn't stop. "Help me," I said to one woman as she passed by.
"I already have a boyfriend,"
she stated, then continued on. Legs almost gave out. Hands slipped on the wall as I made my way off the floor. Lights twirled chaotically around. Time slowed down. Bass rattled in my ears and reverberated into infinity. By the grace of God or the devil's luck, I made it to the bathroom. Empty. No one was there. Crimson splatters fell on the dingy white floor. Each step carried me to the closest stall, where I slumped down to check my wound. It looked bad. Real bad. Sanguine fluid gushed from my side with each heartbeat. Numb hands dug around to get my phone. I tried to dial 911, but the blood made my fingers slip. To add insult to injury, the phone popped out of my hands and landed in the toilet with a plunk. The bathroom door crashed open. "Hello?" I called out. "I need help. Please, help me." Footsteps approached slowly. Creaks emitted from the stall door as it was opened. 2 men in black suits stood above me.
"I told you, use Ruhypnol. Why you not listen? You make more difficult,"
one of the men said. "I lost bottle," the other one said.
"Now, clean up mess and let's get going."
The first one responded and then proceeded to slap the second guy in the back of the head. "It not personal, just business," the other one said. Obviously, the first man was in charge. He was older with slightly gray hair. Deep scars lined the right side of his face. From under the cuff of his suit, tattoos would sneak out when he moved his arms. A large gold ring caught the overhead lights and reflected them into my eyes. The other one was younger, with fine blonde hair slicked back. I'm sure he got carded to get into the club, because he looked like a kid. Nervously, the kid's fingers fumbled around in his jacket pocket before they produced a roll of gauze. He wrapped up my injury, then they both proceeded to get me on my feet. I was too weak to protest as they dragged me out of there. Dim lights in the club probably made the red stains on my shirt difficult to see. It would have looked like 2 friends carrying a drunk out to his car. Once they got me outside, they threw me into the back of a van. The older one went up front to drive, while the younger one came in back with me.
"Give him fluids. He must live till we get back,"
the older man said. The young one strapped me to a gurney and then inserted an IV line into my arm. With eyes wide in panic, all I could do was stare at the metal roof above me. A gag was inserted into my mouth. Something pulled at the edges of my wound. He was stitching me up. If it hadn't been for shock, every needle poke would have felt like fire. Muffled screams filtered through the night air. Eventually, after a long car ride, the vehicle came to a stop. Van doors flew open and a team of people in lab coats rushed in. Surgical masks covered their faces. Green, beady eyes were all that I could see. The young Russian man scooted back to allow them to take me. Outside, I could hear the older one talking.
"He's yours now. Pleasure do business with you,"
he said.
"Correct. Same time next week."
Someone mumbled something, and the old Russian continued.
"We use drug next time, yeah?"
Then both Russians got into their van and drove off. Through a tunnel entrance, I was wheeled down a long corridor. Paint peeled from the walls and some of the lights in the ceiling were out. We pushed past a set of double doors, then stopped abruptly. A voice came from beyond my vision.
"Get him on the table."
6 men transferred me onto a cold steel bed. White lights blasted into my face. The shape of a person then cut into the fluorescent beams, his face obscured by shadows.
"We need a blood transfusion, sterilization, and to stabilize the patient before the operation."
He then let out a long sigh.
You can't find good help nowadays. Stabbed. Really? Just barbaric.
People scurried about to do as they were told. Clothes were torn or cut off from me to prepare for what was to come. Something entered my pants pocket,
Is that his wallet?
The surgeon asked.
Give it to me.
The wallet was tossed over my body.
Oh, a 20. I'll keep that. Mr. Blushwin. Interesting. Well, Mr. Blushwin, you're about to make history. I hope.
Clangs of metal rang out as surgical instruments were laid into place.
In case you're wondering, there is no particular reason you were selected for this.
Cold fluid splashed on my wounded side, followed by a sharp sting.
It could have happened to anyone. Just so happens they picked you.
Shaving clippers buzzed across my skull as a patch of hair was removed.
Where did they get you from? No, it's probably better I don't know the answer to that.
He wouldn't shut up. I could smell iodine.
We're out of anesthesia. Fine, we'll go on without it.
Shaving cream was applied to my now bald head.
I miss when I worked in a proper facility. Computer brain implants are unethical, they said. The technology isn't up to it yet, they said. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, I say. We'll see who's laughing once I'm successful,
the surgeon stated. He then bent over my face.
It'll be me. I'll be the one who's laughing. In case you were wondering.
He told me. There was a blank expression on my face. Just my luck. I had been kidnapped by an evil scientist, and he turned out to be a numbnuts. I screamed. Sharp metal cut into the fine layer of skin on my head. Pain shot through every fiber as a weird sensation like gelatin sliding off was felt.
You've met my assistants already. They were the first steps in cybernetic testing. Robotic eyes. Every blind person I met jumped at the chance. Only a handful died before the operation was a success.
The surgeon began to explain. Clang, crack, clang, crack, went the mallet and chisel into the thick bone that protected my brain.
Your number, how many is this, Johnson?
22.
Right, you're number 22. I feel like we should be close to perfecting the procedure by now,
he said. With one last blow, I could feel the bone pulled off of my head.
Fortunately, the brain has no nerve receptors. That means the worst part is over. Until I stitch you up again.
My arm began to move on its own.
Alright, that's where that nerve is. Give me the diagram, Johnson. I don't want him to kick anyone this time.
Some shuffling was heard.
Could you move the light? I can't see from this angle. No, back. No, wait. To the left. No, too far. Too far. Back right. And wait, stop. Perfect.
The surgeon stated. He then continued.
Sadly, you won't get any kind of superpowers or ability to think faster. This is only a monitor chip. That means we'll be able to keep an eye on your vitals and make sure the operation was successful.
Something hit the floor.
No. Give me another one. This needs to remain sterile.
Holy shit, this guy was incessant. For 18 hours, he rambled on about how he was gonna get rich and finally get a girlfriend. When all was done and he had sewed me up again, his assistant took me back to the recovery bay. I was never allowed to go outside, and all the workers kept their surgical masks on, so I couldn't see their faces. Guess they didn't want me to be able to identify them, or know where I was. The food was decent, though. At the end of a couple of weeks, they let me go. Told me that they would keep an eye on me and monitor the results remotely through the chip in my brain. If it all turned out fine, I would never see them again. Anyways, that's how I developed my fear of public places and my social awkwardness, because I have a tendency to just blab things out since then. Although the last one could be a side effect of the chip. That, and I do drool a bit when I talk now. I told this story to my agoraphobia group therapy partners. They promptly asked me to leave. Something about how I was scaring the rest of the agoraphobics with a made-up tale. The police didn't believe me either, even when I showed them the scar on my head. However, it's my story and I'm sticking to it. Nobody has come back for me yet, so I guess the test is going good. Hey, thanks for listening. I feel a little bit better when I can share what happened to me. Think I might even be able to go outside for a while now. You know, I'd be willing to hear anything you want to tell me. Although I can't guarantee the conversation will be private. You know, with my brain chip and all. They could be listening. Well, see ya! Thank you for watching. We'll always have room for you here when you visit. To keep up on great content like this, like, subscribe, and please share. Have a nice day.